So, guys, after today's episode, we know at least 12% of their income. So, what they usually do is
you don't see me, don't come up to me like it's a
They're going to change. I don't think I'm going to change.
Yeah, like you don't seem like one. I'm piercing like when I'm at Bohamba Rock Festival. So. By the way, Sally Bonani.
welcome to another episode of the Baby Daddies Podcast. Test Baby Daddies Podcast.
BTP, but it's just called a propagati. Wow, guys, we'd like to say shout out to Afrolicious Mama from all the way from the UK, guys. We're getting recognition, guys. We're getting recognition.
Sharing my shout out to that.
Sharing my shout out to show aka Choice UK FM. Please check that out. Maybe she'll post it on her Instagram. We'll also try and post the clip if we find it. But yeah, guys, the support is growing. If sis Mamela Nasir mate, you know, mate, I'm serious about to tell you.
Might be like saying this is a Baby Daddies podcast.
I feel you, bro. Sister about bro. Hey yo, bro. Hey yo, bro. But nonetheless, how do you feel?
Yeah, Mowet on Bass, Liboham season Timonio, Oswala Vatube. Estrati, the Barazumo Smash, Mamona Bute on the radios, on the TV, Sagazu in the Bafeti, Gazia Abuti Smash. But now, for the first time, right here will be the P for two. Yeah, official Abuti Smash has been to irreparable.
What's your? It don't pass.
I come a little bit. I don't teach you that about my face. Hey, little dog was a little bit who played the battle is scared.
You buy the of guys. And then fame and fortune, guys. It's your baby daddy. Yeah, fame and fortune, obviously, dog. Man. It's your baby daddy, your favorite baby daddy. The international _Melanin. It's chocolate, yabo baby, mama, cream, della cream. Oh, yeah, achoo. And dark. A creamy cherry on top.
Anyway, Buffetti, yeah. Thank you for everything, Buffetti. Don't forget, baby daddies out there, send out those pictures with your kids.
We're still waiting.
We're still waiting for that. Yeah, we're still collecting. Please send out. Please send out.
To 300 subscribers on the YouTube page. We're recognizing road to 300. Guys, selling about 5 and then in time to share. And about WhatsApp platform, maybe more than 700.
Buffet 2.
5 on YouTube.
Buffet 2. Ghetto Universe Media. Let's come. Ghetto Universe Media. Click that subscription. Click that notification. Now score. And I will Jozi Show Buffet 2. Jozi Show Entertainment.
Definitely.
Click that notification. Click that subscription. All the social network. Ghetto Universe Media. Jozi Show Entertainment. No, I can smash Buffet 2. Go and go
on all social media platforms. I hate. So dog, hey.
Today, Buffett, I'm trying to school man.
It's a big
I'm the last time I said so cool man. And she said,
she said she was at the souls and she the last 2 years.
Sis,
we are
child maintenance. That's our
child support.
Hey, Buffett, yeah, hey, child support. So, because this topic, man, first of all, it's broad.
Big.
So we're just gonna stick to like our usual, the typical child maintenance expected with daily, you know. And I'm not gonna put those, unfortunately, those who come out maybe in terms of marriages and in terms of child custody, and you know, because that's a different way, because there are different elements that are involved there. Now we're gonna speak about whether which way you're fighting setting or you're a girlfriend or a boyfriend that you end up having a kid with, and now it's about now maintaining the child, raising the child.
Yes.
Those type of issues, bruh.
No, guys, Melanin is avoiding this in Jalo, but I think Navachita now, maybe they have their own reasons, of not paying maintenance at that stage, because
I started out, but I like to maintain it over to the child that you go my food because I saw some of it.
Some niggas, and we spoke about that last.
Yeah, we spoke about
that. So how do you pay for a responsibility you don't want or you didn't want?
I think it goes back now. You didn't want. If you didn't want from the get-go, condomize or pull out. That day, pull out on time.
My children would say, "Vugo, like I use. We show you like show
Uktini?
What's I use what I do?
Uktini, this way for Uktini.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, dog.
Singer, I should be like,
get you, pull out of him.
Yeah, pull out. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to wait and I'm sure that
Hey, no, I'm sure I'm to Steve, dog. Dog, we told you now, this is on muscles of time.
Obviously, like it's too pleasureless.
Exactly. So, Afuna was hazard. Because I mean, pull up game, let's which is another topic for another day. But from that should be the first lesson. So that should be one of the main things from there. So whether Abuti was a mistake, Abuti after child very ranjan, but before from there, either we done say a corner, so the child needs to grow, the child needs to be raised.
Most definitely.
So in the arena, so you need to deal with it. So you need to help out in raising the child.
Very key.
Yeah, so even if you never
but let's say
because the book that
but the thing is look, the thing is we gotta consider this at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. We're growing in an economy where women empowerment is at its peak. Each and every industry is trying to make sure that there's a woman
that's equivalence.
Yes. So they're trying to make sure that there are more women that are employed now.
So,
right? Yeah. And then in that process, there are more men that are getting unemployed.
Yeah.
In that same process, right? Okay, because some men are declining positions because obviously the company needs more women in order to
or as a man you need to fit the PEE.
Yeah, the score.
Yeah, PEE score.
Yeah. So because of that and the unemployment rates rapidly increasing, and if you can check the stats on your own, they say that it's mostly me. Yeah, and that are under that radar of the unemployment. You understand?
And especially with COVID like
hitting hard
because a lot of guys are from Chile, a lot of guys got dumped over because of
they couldn't provide. Yeah, and that's a big factor again that is happening. I think now, even post COVID, because there was this guy I forgot his name, but he's an advocate of maintenance, and I was checking him out.
Advocate Def.
Yeah, whatever.
I just say advocate.
No, and another it's a Indian or something.
Oh yeah.
But I'll make sure that you check out my number to chat
07409820057 on the Baby Daddies podcast.
Definitely. We'll make sure we put in a link and then you check it out. Video clip
advocates.
Maintenance post lockdown. So the fact that the lockdown hit in and a lot of people lost their jobs, made to say, and that the fact that they couldn't pay at that stage for maintenance hours. Some of them hadn't received in there was a pension fund but they hadn't discussed that. They were still discussing that, and there were times where they couldn't pay.
Yeah.
Right. And because they couldn't pay, some of them they got garnished. Some of them because for the maintenance, but they were supporting their children, because there are guys who are obliged by the law, which you gotta pay monthly.
Okay.
Sure.
What is child maintenance?
According to not just man, right, but from what I've read, right, from what I've read, because I didn't want to come with information that I don't know, right. So from what I read, the child maintenance involves both financial, aspects, emotional aspects, physical aspects, and your ability to make sure that you create an environment where the child thrives and grows safely around your space. So that will depend, Abuti, does that come from the maternal or the paternal side? Right? So how are you giving these things to the child? How are you feeding these things to the child? The things that I just mentioned, right? How are you giving them to the child in a way? And how are you supporting the child in a way?
Yeah, you mentioned keywords there. Support, there's financial part. That's why I ask you, because there's also the support chart. Because instead of sending money, there's also the one that's also playing the part of giving guidance and supporting the child to grow up.
Definitely,
that's another responsibility.
Yeah, so it's those key responsibilities. It's maintenance is you playing the responsibilities that we are given by law as parents, right? So there are certain laws and acts that have been made, right, in order to guide that. But we won't go into that because Asama lawyer. Asama lawyer. So we just have conversations according to what we've had. So according to me, maintenance for me, it has to do with that, right? And I have a story to share. But after you tell us your perspective of Uti, what is maintenance according to you?
I agree with that, man. It's mostly I think the main important thing is like child support, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why in most cases you can say child support or child maintenance. Yeah. It's just that thing that's not about that. We use the maintenance more because, it's more of like an income source. Maintaining the child to grow and everything. So so I
love the way you put it, maintain and Shugati, you maintain your presence, but it's just that the P is not there. So you are being present but maintaining your presence within that space in terms of financially, emotionally, and the aspects that we've said. So according to me, Tama, going back to my story now. So when I grew up, unfortunately, I had to go through a process of maintenance. My parents were still separated while I was still very, very young. I think I was still in primary. In primary, they were already separated. I think grade 3 or 4. And then at that age, and this thing also goes back to age, dog.
It also goes to age.
Involving the child. The more you grow,
the more the expenses
grow, and the laws change in terms of that now. Because now the child comes into play as the ages grow, right? Yeah. So when the child is able to talk, like they can speak for themselves in a way, right? There's a law and all those things. So for me, what happened to me is that he used to send, as I'm saying, before he was obliged by law, he would do that when I send him money, right? But there were times whereby I complained about money to him, right? Why he couldn't understand where I send the money, right? So I send the money, but still this person is still coming back to ask for money and crying like I don't send shit, And at that stage, my mom had a gambling problem, right? So what she'd do is that she'd use part of the money to gamble with, right? Yeah. So she got very addicted child, right? So maintenance. Sometimes she'd win, but most of the time she'd lose. Right, and that affected the relationship now because now
there's a trust in terms of
I say trust there, right? And then there was a stage where my dad decided, I'm not sending money anymore, right? If ufuni mali or ufuni mpahla or ufuna anything, come to me straight is a one, and then we'll go and then I'll get you whatever that you need, right? And at that stage, for me, I didn't understand what was happening, right? And my mom is trying to protect herself because I'm still young. And that's what happens, guys, sometimes. Women sometimes inflict some things to the children, in order to see. So, give me what happened is that after some time, I think the second grade 6, yeah. I was in my grade, 6th grade. And then what happened is that umamami wafaka ubaba mfuthi wafaka ubaba mu-maintenance. Ne? Makamfaka ku-maintenance kanjena uthi ubaba makasendi imali, right? While obviously ubaba wami angeke azasendele imali kuye straight kubeni mase ngifuna imali kuye discuss with me, right? So bamfaka ku-maintenance with the perspective yokuthi akasupport umntana, of which my mother had proof ukuthi it had been almost a year sleeps, right? Ama-sleeps abanje ubaba. Luckily ubaba mabaslam ukuthi azibambele ama-sleep ngokwakhe, right? So what happened is this. My dad would always play the financial role. My mom would always play the emotional role, right? And because my mom was playing so much in the emotional aspect, I wouldn't see even nendaba yale mali nomingene, right? But the effects would be seen by Obama, and he would update me. This is what's happening. And
can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did it change for perception on your dad in terms of now umuntu ongayakuyo for when it comes to imali, or but will you go for something else besides money, or he will be your first contact when you need something like that has to do with money?
Yeah. So that's that's another thing. So from that, obviously, my dad always wanted to be there for me financially, right? He tried to be there emotionally, but obviously, Mkhala no mama, and he didn't have access to me that much, right? And obviously, my mom being last born you, so now in a way, most of the time, right? So I would go wherever no mama, right? So that would affect some things, or a lot would happen, but I won't go into detail.
Yeah.
Fast forward the story, I was called into court. And I had to choose between Mkhala and Abuti, because they both built strong cases against each other to a point that none of them could decide rather than me saying Uti from Mkhala, right? And now it was a matter of Uti. This one is providing most of the time the financial aspects, and I know I'm assured Uti financially I'm secured here, right? But when I come here, I know that emotionally I'm secured, but financially I'm not secured because of the issue of gambling.
Yeah.
Right? And when I looked at both of these metrics in my life, I'm like, so who do I trust now? Right? So according to the court, what I did is that I told the court that I wanted to stay with my father. Right? Yet I continued staying with my mother. Right? But the reason I did that was because so that the court could cancel in that maintenance directly to my mom, because I knew that I wouldn't have influence, right? I wouldn't have influence over the money. I wouldn't have a word over the money, right? So all I could do to save myself was do that, just to move away and make sure that I speak to my dad in that manner. And my dad advised me, I won't take you away from your mom, right? If you want to stay with her, you will stay with her. But for financial purposes, this is what we must do. Because for me, on my side, I care about you. And your financial well-being to me matters a lot. So if that is hindered in a way, it affects me in a way, So then I decided really, but it was also a traumatic experience, because now they are fighting over you now, and bakuluma nezinye izinto now they are backlashing words, it's the anger relationship coming down, and you're experiencing all that anger as
that, and you get caught up in between.
You get caught up in between as a child, because now you don't know who to choose, because you love both these people.
I think most black children to go through is more of the same or similar scenario.
Yeah.
Well, because usually, you're gonna go to main click with the second part of Abuti. Why should we pay maintenance, or why is maintenance really needed? You'll find that, for example, when I grew up in a 50-50 system, 50-50, the other one is to find 50. whether or not there's imbalance of your income. It's like that, right?
Yeah.
And even though when I look at my siblings or so forth, or whoever else is in my life, it's more of a similar situation, what you're saying, right? Because I think when it comes to the main reason why actually they're supposed to child maintenance, I think, especially when we're living in a society where a child is raised by two separate parents, right? Or parents who have separated, right? There will be the supporter or the guardian, the one that the child stays with.
Yeah.
And then there will be the one that, in a way, they have to, because most of the time, that's where they need to support financially.
Yeah.
They need to pay financially.
Yeah.
So now, those things, it's something that we don't really consider, right? Because, for example, with me, in a situation by where when I used to stay with my son, it's a bit different now when I need to adjust to now to do the payment, the child maintenance, to send the money, because I feel like everything should happen at that particular time, at that time. And the biggest concern I think that I did also raise that they did raise, right? What happens with in terms of other guys that they face through is the indifference between one's a baby mama allowance also as well as the child maintenance, because in most cases
definitely
people that you're gonna like have children with, right, they'll consider the maintenance for the child to also suit their personal needs or personal habits.
My personal story, definitely, sure.
You see, so, and that's one of the main things. But that's one of the main things, though, because now, for example, if let's say, which we are gonna get into in terms of in terms of payments, right? If usually a woman, right? That's what I'm saying. Those two should be classified differently, because there's a reason why I personally do understand in terms of baby mama allowance, right? Sure. But that's something that's optional.
Optional.
Because
it's all in baby daddies allowance. For the good to shake it, fika, who tried to work like a man.
So, and I think it's a new thing. I mean, the baby mama allowance is a new thing, but usually it's because that's why I remember last episode we spoke about the girl who had multiple children, because young it's more of an income. That's what if a source of income. So I know it's not until 2K, not until 1K, not until
and that's another thing.
So whatever they are, then you catch us in those so
what I'm thinking about takes me to le njengoba shoot the children on abantwana by 5 ne when like ingosakhe for start ne mara uzuthola imali engosi yakho seyifila lo ole baba lo ngifuna ukubhadala and I don't know I think we need to find a baby daddy. Go Q&A, master the day social Q&A session. Like we need a baby daddy because it's so cool, all the situation. Because it's very frustrating. It can be frustrating. I can imagine or send a 2K, it's all 500. I'm telling you that so share. Okay, but I understand that mentality. I sharing with my siblings. Yes, my siblings work. We are sharing.
So if you're in a situation whereby your baby mama has 3 kids, name or 4 kids, more than a chicken the kid, no matter. Because some niggas
when I ask me because Nilles Magnum Savings, Bashai family can Baba won't kill about Donna. You feel in Orlando. That's why I say current paper. Young Chinchis, I like my story. Chinchis, and Kaista Shikari. Yeah. Look at that. I'm jealous for a soul that you Italian, Ibuye,
or you're elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
Next to the other kids.
I saw the spoon. No, like it is over painful. Angikho slap ngayo.
Because
No, angeke ngibele yata ukuthi labo bapho. Mana vele baphi. Hayi ba.
Anyway, yes. So, I think. So that's why I think the main thing of parental guidance and so they don't necessarily count the child as specific, like okay, you eat your own thing, you do your own thing. So they, in a way,
as a whole,
they put it in whatever the family contribution is, right? So if there's other kids, that's when
it's a sum.
It's a sum anyway, naizo add and so forth, right? So now, my question is, why does before say the part there,
sure,
who decides who's gonna be the parental guidant or who's gonna be the paying guidant?
It's
because let's say think of it in a situation whether one works out of the two or whether both of them work, and it's not like a guy can't take care of the child, eh?
Sure. I want to check this thing first.
Well,
it's an act, guys. There's an act specifically for that, guys. Like there's maintained acts.
Yeah. So and another thing, right? Before we even in court, right? So I think this act, especially, should go in terms of why child maintenance is, and now there's even like a form that you can get online or you fill it, right?
The link is on the WhatsApp group. Make sure
we'll share the WhatsApp group. We'll share the link of the WhatsApp group. Yeah. So where you can actually get the form, for example, if you agree that you're gonna pay 50-50 in raising the child or whatever the agreement is, you state it down, right? Whether you're working or not, that document actually does help because some people can agree to certain things, like do certain things, and then jig not, and then that's why now they will call the baby daily. Now we're 16. What's that? Baby daily call 81. But you sent everything as cards.
So yeah, usually now again the Act as it goes, it's Act number 38 of 2005 according to Government Gazette of 19 June 2006. The Children's Act of 2005. So it states that payments to be made to person determined by court, right? Section 164. A contribution order must instruct the respondent to pay the sum stated therein to such person or institution as the court may determine. Attachment of the wages of respondent. Section B, a children's court which has made contribution order against respondent order to the employer of the respondent to deduct the amount contribution with the respondent has. But guys, specifically with this long this yes, it's guys. Basically, whoever who can provide the things that we spoke about. Mostly, right? Like their financial, emotional, and
support,
psychological support to the child. If you can provide that to the child, it is deemed as Abuti, you're the one that must be responsible for the child, right? And then in maintenance, Iman, the financial part comes whereby by check and accord Abuti, if the mother, because it happens to Konuma it happens with some star out secret, and the guy can provide for the kids both emotionally and financially.
Yes,
right. And then the mother cannot provide that aspect. So
many things in this another their part of it. Why does it have to be when the mother is irresponsible or so forth? Because at times that's why the mother will tell the kid at home because they know that they've got their own things and whatnot. So those things you can't use them in the court per se. Right, but even though as a dad you can provide financial, you can provide like support and be a guardian to the child.
But according to the act, I think it says like if you have proof, that is valid to like you, like I've taken care of the child from Marafika, from and ngiyakwazi ukumtshintsha amapampasi ngiyazi
So-
isize lakhe lesicathulo.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
So there are many things that contribute in terms of the child support, right? If I were to use my personal experience, like if I were to go to court and try to fight to bring back my child, I will win simply because I've stayed with my child for the longest time. I know all the things in and out, right? And I was taking care of both the child and the mother as well, right? So on that part, it was not a big issue in a way, right? Even though besides that, but we were still getting things there, right? So, but yeah, as I was saying, right?
Yeah.
So there are different factors when it comes to child maintenance. There are different factors because, I mean, raising a child up until the more they grow, the more they become expensive.
Yeah.
The more they become expensive, there are ways of contributing. You know, even that specific money, it doesn't become enough because there are unnecessary things that come through and so forth and so forth. So it is like I think for season 1 we're gonna just keep it like we're not gonna go deep in terms of those level types of in terms of maintenance because there are issues where for example if mangabe you agree to, I mean, let's say when the child's like maybe teenager now, the expenses are different now, right? And that which goes to the thing that we're going to talk about now in terms of how much actually you should be paying, right? Because that also goes in terms of if the guardian parent, right? Now we need to look at in terms of the school fees. How much is the school fees?
Yeah. How much is responsibilities?
How much are the things like the usual as a human being?
Yeah, basic
right?
needs,
toiletries, basic needs.
Yeah.
And to some point, they count even in terms of rent. In terms of if in a household, the child should count as half as what the other will count. Yeah. So if me gonna be other 3,000 from them to 1.5. So before we go into the specific and the stats and what you need to know on Baby Daddy's podcast in terms of how much that you should be paying if you feel like you're paying too much, if you feel like you're paying less, or if you feel like you're getting less support from your baby daddy, or maybe the baby mama is the one that's paying. Yeah, I want to play that actually. What did I put the phone, guys?
Don't play the voice note, dog. Scissor the baby mama tonight.
Yeah, just so I'm gonna think just one baby mama send a voice note, right?
Yeah.
But it's a similar because
I'm a baby daddy. Abachita. I'm
how much they actually pay.
Abachita njalo bahlezi bafuna ukushitshela bafuna ukungena. Abachita man. Nenze efforts man. Speak man. Men must speak.
Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we're trying to change to the perception and the narrative of how baby daddies should be and how should they act. And in this way, today we're speaking about especially the most important part, child maintenance, right?
Definitely. And then guys, bafuna ukusponsor the show ngokudla ngani or anything guys.
Anyway, so anonymous have an anonymous baby mama, right? That I'm gonna play now. So the child is like plus minus 2 years, right? So there's also a baby daddy, right? Who is a child also like 2 to 3 years now, 3 years now, yeah, right. And I wish we have enough time to kind of like break it down as well. So not to waste any time, let me just play the voice note.
Fresh with my son about 800, which then escalated to 1,000 rand, which then escalated to 1,002, and then after a while got like 1,002 net month, and then 800. 98. So like 1,000 net month and then 800.
So over 2K a month.
And then it just became net month 1,000 month and 1,000. Bear in mind, in that time, I also still am getting a salary. So I don't think I have like any preferences in terms of how much I should get, because the money that I used to get from baby daddy just helped me in terms of when things are finished or things get short, at least I have money to buy the stuff. Yeah, well, so then the getting it twice a month changed to me just getting 1,500 month end. But still, it was okay because I used to cover most of the stuff with my money, and then keep his money for when things are short, the money, the milk, and stuff like that. So now, it's just baby daddy's money that's coming in. This is where I prefer now getting more. Because I'm so used to buying whatever I want, whenever I want. Because at least, when you buy something, you money, like, you don't work on a budget. You just see something you like and you can't really buy it. Imagine I need to buy it on a budget, which is a bit tough because there's only one. I can't say income stream, but like one person supporting each other, like financially supporting the kid, So that just made me realize that I'd actually prefer more for my 2,500 to avoid limitation when it comes to buying. You know, the man, I accept the necessities like every man.
Wow.
Toiletries, food, and not my kid was pressure. I don't give him my parents anything what he said. Couple. And when he takes lunch, he take chicken nuggets and chips or mash.
Whoa!
Jesus, boy,
And like frozen veggies, like things like that. Because he's eating solid food now and he doesn't take from my parents to school. Watch them at home for as a matter of fact. So I prefer to give my 2.5K upwards.
Hey,
What do you think?
hey, guys, have you asked yourself the question, which way is the economy going now? Has his salary risen? John, the economy kopia.
Let's say
Have you asked yourself that
let's say you
question?
could afford.
Yeah? Or let's say you could afford, and then he's not willing to.
Let's say you got the money. Would you
Yeah.
pay 2.5 for a 2-year-old?
Well, dog, he crash is actual. Impahla, masiniso wakhe omkhero.
When you say every month, it's how much are we talking about?
Wow, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Because
dog.
now in the life I make that many.
Yeah, that's a good question. Eh?
Yeah, dog.
That's a good question.
The thing is, our baby mama sometimes, guys, the thing is, you backlash us, you fight instead of asking what's why so sender. I don't know, my sister would askile umbuzile na mama akhe ubaba akhe ukuthi
Uhola mali.
uhola malini, we say,
Yeah.
how much are their daily expenses or their monthly expenses, and according to that, just know their budgets, and then if makabanye bachita vela bazama disclose my budget wabo vele khona
Yeah,
abantu
but I think
abavele-
it also goes with the thing of also, you want to do best for your child. And for in this case, I want that old nuggets.
Aye guys, abantwana bamanuggets, ama-cream de la cream nama-burger. Aye guys, ulinga papa nekhabishi guys, umnikeza inyama, ipapa nenyama umphekele. Iviki lonke, thenga i-braai pack. Inkinga yakho ufuna ama-nuggets, thenga i-braai pack le, ngithengele i-braai pack. Ngithengele ibhakede le-Voss. The way you shine papa ne-Voss or the papa ne-chicken.
No, but besides that, I mean, there are ways.
Yeah. Papa
If
ne-Voss. Yeah, mshanga ngama-nicknacks. Nicknacks estate loyal at least kukhuphe nga-5 or 150 ama-nicknacks. Banana 1 rand. Orange. Thengisa kala ama-orange. Guy advise my.
So how much? Okay. Thank you.
I'll say.
I was big. They remember in that episode we said there's a difference between no prekisa. Those are
Guys, it's a blessing. Why does that really money not maxima?
Yes, but okay. No, listen.
I want a better life for my child.
No, listen. Besides that, but I want you to change that narrative because now we're gonna break it down in terms of does it make sense or not, right? In terms of also the child expenses and in terms of what the person can afford, right? So she has a 2-year-old, right? So a 2-year-old currently, okay, doesn't eat my purity, so meaning no
more like food.
So maybe in terms of toiletries, maybe if they've not potty trained the child yet, right? So like 2 packs per month, that's like 350. Whether pampers or diapers, whether you buy the diapers or the pants. So like in terms of if for training, it's not so if I was me like already, it diaper, right? So you don't do the e-haggis goal is to go to the special, but usually when you buy the 2 for the special ones, they will like 370 or 3. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's around 350. Okay, let's say 400.
Yeah, 400.
Let's say 400. 400.
Like they need to know.
I'm just making
guys, put your on.
So let's say 400 on diapers.
Yeah, no monthly value. Angala store it.
Forget. Yeah, nowadays this kids. That's why the sooner you train the child to potty training, the better.
Yeah.
So let's say in terms of what other expense before you have to take care, right? Before in but it's a different thing, right? So like the usual expenses, expected expenses.
Obviously,
let's say
medicine.
Let's say okay.
Medicine.
Yeah.
These kids
I'm a type of water. So let's say all that medication could be this another 300.
Okay. Meditation. Enzyme.
Oh yeah,
and most of these kids,
most of the kids has enzyme nowadays. Yeah. So there's a receipt, but no, we kill that very fast. I need to find it. I'm also gonna disclose it on the Baby Daddies podcast, right?
Please,
but yeah, just to come back, let's say now you're on 700, plus let's say it's down for 800. Let's go 800, 400 medication, 400 thing, and then let's say their portion of food is 400 per month.
So 1.2.
Or so we 1.2. It take care.
800.
So yeah, that depends. So when you like lying down, this is not like a town like where we are, Joburg. It's like 900 now.
Yeah,
that's the standard 900. But man, of my car, you can still take about 600, 700.
500. Yeah.
So
we'll go to the next store.
Yeah. So now we're looking at let's say 2,000 now.
Yeah, close to 2K.
Let's go 2K now.
She's making sense though. My baby can play on church. Sing about and that's gonna feel good nuggets. So Bali lemon nuggets.
Mbali take care Mbalang Gudla. Oh yeah. So let's say Gudla kwakhe.
Lemon nuggets, my parent.
Let's say Gudla kwakhe, that's maybe 2.5 here.
Yeah, but escorts a pellet.
Yeah, okay, let's say yeah.
No, your calculations are right, my sister.
Yeah, in a way, but now she's saying because now she's unemployed now, right? She does not get a salary anymore, unlike before when she can also get the stuff. So there's also another thing, the effect your I mean, impact that you income, which can cost you like plus minus 500 to 1,000, depending on how you buy season or you buy like bulk or you tell them a piece. Because when you buy a child, a piece is actually expensive. It becomes really expensive, right? So yeah, so that's how much she's like. So it kind of makes sense for her. But now the child is staying where she's taking. I mean, the guy is doing both duties. The paying parent and also the guiding parent, because those things that are there, right, they need to be cut in terms of obviously there's the paying and whatnot, right? So before we show the what actually the law says, right?
Yeah.
So there's another guy, right? Another baby daddy, right?
Yeah.
So this baby daddy, also anonymous, right? So he pays 1.2 per month.
Sure.
The child was 3 years. Yeah. So, but in terms of clothes, he buys the clothes every 2 months. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fair amount. What do you think? But now, because
those calculations, this is valid in on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Yeah, it depends though. Which one can come from any something or a solution.
You see. So that depends, because I mean we see things even on TV when baby daddies are pushed for keep them 500 at least to commit, But guys, I mean, before I said the actual stats, right? My biggest question, guys, I'm sure you guys, the baby daddies out there, the baby mamas will help me, right?
Yeah.
What happens now if the guy is the one that takes the parental guidance, or the one that takes care of the child? Yes.
Well, according to Mthetho, but as we're saying, because back on the talk, we say like, Miss Independent, it's only Miss Independent, like,
Yes.
Like that girl who's goal driven, who has like so much ambitions about her career. She cares so much about her career. Like she doesn't even have time for the kids. She just has time for her career. So those type of people, obviously, when I'm all cheap and you have to take care of the babies. She's the one that has to send a certain portion. For me now, according to me, I'm thinking since
I bet a lot of baby mamas will disagree with that.
Yeah, I do disagree, but I'm keep it 30%.
30%.
30%.
Okay, let's get down to business, guys. So we've checked out like a different research from Scorpions, Legal Wise, to now the one that I've opened now, it's ourlawyer.co.za, right?
Yeah.
So in an example, right, this is income and expenses of a child and on parents, right? The child expense could be, let's say, just make an example here, right? 1,000. The custodian parent's income. So custodian parent's income is who I can say is maybe the one that's the guardian, basically, the one that stays with the child.
Sure.
Right. Let's say they earn 10,000.
Sure.
These are big figures, but let's say that they earn 10,000.
Sure.
Yeah? And then their monthly expense, their personal expenses, right?
Sure.
Is, or the gross income is 5,000.
Sure.
Yeah? Meaning they left with 5,000.
Sure.
If the paying parent, right, income is 20,000 and their expenses are half of that, which is 10,000, meaning they left with 10,000, right? In essence, right, so the paying parents need to pay as double as what the custodian parent pays. So meaning in the 1,000, if I can put it in the 1,000, let's say over the 1,000, that's taking care of that child expense of that 1,000, right?
Yeah.
The custodian will pay like the 1/3, which is 334, right? And then the paying parent will pay 660. So obviously this will also depend also in terms of the expenses of the child. This is just if the expense of the child is
1/3, 1/3.
So 1/3.
1/3. Yeah,
So
multiply.
And then the paying parent should be 2/3 in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Because in terms of the expenses, some expenses that the one you listed, they go in terms of the custodian, the part of the custodian, in terms of taking care of the child, in terms of food, etc.
Wow.
Right? But not bad.
Oh, pretend I'm a scenario.
I know the series are too long. They just
The scenarios are too long,
the
but
same thing.
just check out the scenarios and then they'll just explain further.
What I want to say, right, is in terms of percentage, right, what the law says, right? The law states that the paying parents, right, needs to pay at least 12% of their gross income. Gross income. At least 12% of gross income. So in this case, let's say their gross income is 10,000. Then because after the expenses they left with 10,000. Then if we multiply that with 12%, so it's 1.2.
1.2.
Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think the law are a bit unfair? Do you think
The law is fair. The law is fair.
It's fair.
Ungasakhali umuntu ene 10,000 ubhadala 1.2 bese nina niyafika wazi ukuthi ngikhona 1,000 ungifune 1.3. Niyeke lento yini. Niyeke sacela nje please stop it.
So yeah, I think it is kind of fair. No, untanga send a message that's when I was reading it out. So in terms of what he's the one that says he pays 1.2. That's why I'm saying to some point on the because I'm not sure how much he's earning.
Yeah.
Right. But he's able to take care of the child's thingy. Needs in terms of, let's say if the child needs impasha and he sort that on the side. So which is something that I also actually prefer. I prefer that to be counted inside that way. Because not the custodian. It's not the same thing. Exactly. So guys, after today's episode, we know at least 12% of their income. So what they usually do at times is, that's why guys, we're still gonna have another topic when it comes to baby mama allowance, right? So don't never confuse things, guys. Please.
Maintenance, baby mama allowance.
Please.
So that's the topic.
Please, guys. So that money is for the child. So whatever, because I mean, a guy can go through a lot of things with what you mentioned. You would see a month thing can be different, right? In terms of also the income. And they will try by all means, right? I'm talking about the baby who support their children.
You didn't ask the reasons in between which ones are but you still wanna pay. Just meaning then ensure to all the baby mamas out there. Just make sure you appreciate every baby tail who are still willing to pay that money. No, if a guy is still willing to pay, there's a guy who's not willing to pay a cent. Imagine if they did that.
Exactly. It goes back to actually that our first episode when the first voice note, baby mama's voice note that we had, right? The girl was saying the guy started paying maintenance for like 4 months and then he stopped. And to some point, because I mean, with no reasons or okay, maybe 200 or something, let's try to just live in those small things, just to add.
Small things go a long way, guys.
I mean, the government is supporting 350.
I said it.
It's about 350 miles. It's about more than so much for something. No, say me sure the child maintenance for my government. So much.
4, 5, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere up now. It's 4 something. So that for something, if you can think about it now, it's not enough. It's not enough. So guys, be wise when we have a kid.
It's smart.
When you have a kid and but to not to say I love it, that when you have a kid, we try, man. We try. But fair too. This becomes the conclusion of the Baby Daddies podcast. But fair too, we love. And we see you all to another episode. Please support us by all means. We love the reviews. But fair too, feel free to contact us if you have any questions, any inquiries, or any situation that you are facing and you feel like we can help. Definitely feel free to contact us by fair to the WhatsApp number. It's 074 098 2057. And just stay there. Baby Daddies podcast. That's your reason.
Definitely.
We'll put you on a relevant link.
Another successful episode, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Man, it was a mouthful. It was a mouthful, guys, but Sinitanda no Makaya.
Danko.
An African cry from an African child. An African cry from an African child. An African